What's going on? Paul Clean here with Return to the Athlete, and in this video I'm going to show you 5 ways you can improve your balance lunging so that you can go from a wobbling willy to executing lunges with perfection and stability so you can build muscle and live a more functional life. So let's dive into it. Number 1, you're going to want to focus on your feet. And that might sound weird at first, but the reason is that your feet is what is connected to the floor first. And your ability to produce and absorb force is going to be contingent on your ability to drive into the floor with your feet and stay gripped and connected with the floor using your feet. I'm a big fan of minimal shoes, socks, or even barefoot in training for this reason, because you can get connected with the ground and use the strength of your feet as opposed to using something like running shoes of a Hoka or Brook style where a lot of that force is being absorbed. And so when you're going and executing this, really think about gripping with your big toe of the leg that you are working, and then think about driving into the heel. This is going to radiate more tension into your posterior chain, into your hips, and into your glute, which is going to help you feel more stable and balanced, like demonstrated here. So I'm trying to grip with this big toe right here on the inside, and I'm trying to be in the heel. From there, I want to step back, boom, and come back forward. Step back, come back forward. If I go forward, I'm trying to do the same thing. Weight into the heel, come back up. The second thing you want to do is check the angle of your torso. A big mistake I'll see a lot of clients making is trying to get too tall in their lunge, which ultimately leads to low back pain because they're finding extension in their low back, flaring their rib cage, and then that's preventing them from ever utilizing the strength of their hips, and all of the weight is going into their knee and their low back. And now there can definitely be versions of lunges that make sense to have an upright torso, but I think a lot of problems can be cleaned up by simply adding a 5 to 15 degree tilt to your torso so that it is in line with your front shin. When you do that, you send a lot of the tension into that front hip, which is going to help you feel more stable. It's going to take a lot of the tension out of the knee joint and out of that low back that you might be experiencing, as demonstrated here. Step back here, torso aligned with the shins. If you're trying to stay tall, all of that weight and load gets placed into that knee, which isn't bad, but you can only have so much weight in that one joint. Hinge in a little bit. It's gonna now put the weight in here. The third thing that I find really helpful is establishing a baseline for what it should feel like at the bottom of a rep. So whether it's a forward lunge, a reverse lunge, a static lunge, establishing a 90-90 baseline enables you to feel that difference. And so as demonstrated here, you're going to see all of the joints are pretty much at 90 degrees, and this gives you a good starting point. From there, you can work up and level up if you're a beginner and add in different things to stabilize, like a foam roller, like a dowel, like a squat rack to hold on to, but then you can also level this up by just adding a ton of weight. So this is what I mean when I say a 90-90 position. 90 degree angle here, 90 here, 90 here, 90 here. From here, I can press in and stand up, or if I need support, I can put this here, drive in. What I'm emphasizing though, the entire time, weight driving into here, gripping with the inside. So then I can be right in this range. You're gonna feel your adductors working. You're gonna feel the back side of that front leg working. The fourth thing you can do to improve your balance lunging is to find one single spot of focus. When it comes to balancing, you have 4 systems: your visual systems, your proprioceptive input, your vestibular system, and your brainstem. They're all helping you orient where you are in space, and they communicate with each other what part of the body is where and what's doing what. So when you look at one point on the ground, let's say, that's going to reduce the amount of things that your brain and your body and your eyes are having to all coordinate to essentially establish where you are. If your eyes are gazing all around and your body's trying to say, hey, our joints here are stepping there, it's much harder. Versus if you just stare at one point, that's going to reduce the amount of things for your brain to figure out, for your brain to solve. That's going to help you stabilize a little bit more. The fifth thing you can do to improve your balance lunging is increasing your stability. And I've talked about one already a little bit with the 90-90 and using different things for support, but you can also create a lot of stability with your breath and stabilizing your core, as demonstrated here. So when it comes to creating stability with your breath, there's 2 ways in which you can do this. Both require you to take a big breath in and then a quick exhale to drive your rib cage over your pelvis. From there, when you pick the weight up, you'll either take that breath in again with that same orientation, so through the nose, and then you're either letting out a leaky tire, it's gonna sound like this, the entire time, Or you just take a big breath in and brace. Come down, still keeping the tension. And then when you're done, let that breath back in. You can either repeat that as you're going through each rep, or you hold it for the entire set. But what you don't want is to be going and just breathing and being Raggedy Ann with your torso as you're coming up and down. Keep stability here, you keep stability here, you'll be stronger for it. So to recap, here's the 5 things you can do to improve your balance lunging. Number 1, focus on your feet. That is your foundation. That is the first thing that connects with the floor. Number 2, make sure that you're adding a little bit of a tilt to your torso so that you're not extending in your low back and so that you're loading the hip and not just loading everything in the knee. If you need to, start in a 90-90 position to get a feeling for what the end position of a lunge should feel like. That way you can start to feel what it's like to grip in your toes, what it's like to drive into your heel, and what it's like to feel really stable. Next, make sure that you are focusing on one point and not adding to the number of equations that your brain needs to solve. And last but not least, make sure that you are creating as much stability as possible with your core, utilizing your breath. Thanks for watching. If you got any questions or comments, drop them down below in the comment section. If you got value out of this video, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button as well. My name is Paul Klingen, and I'll catch you on the next Return of the Athlete video.